A children's game is made up of 20 cards of 4 different colors: 5 red, 5 yellow, 5 blue, and 5 green. On each of the 5 cards of the same color are drawn one of the following reef creatures: shark, dolphin, turtle, fish, and lobster. One card is drawn from the set of 20 cards and is replaced before another card is drawn. Copy and complete the tree diagram. So let's say that the first card that is drawn is a shark. What is the probability that the first card that is drawn is a shark? And the probability is going to be 4 over 20. Why 4 over 20? Because there are 4 sharks to choose from, and it's going to be 4 over 20. All right. And there are 20 cards. So 4 over 20. Now, if the first card that is chosen is not a shark, what is the probability? Well, the probability that it's not a shark is going to be 16 over 20 because there's only 4 sharks and there are 20 cards. So if it's not a shark, then it's going to be 20 minus 4, which is going to be 16 options that we could choose from. So it's going to be 16 over 20. So the probability that the first card is chosen as a shark is going to be 4 over 20. And the probability that the first card chosen is not a shark is going to be 16 over 20, which makes sense. Now, let's say that the first card is chosen as a shark, right? What's the probability that we could get a shark again, right? Now, remember, the card is replaced. So that means that there's still 4 sharks there. So it's going to be 4 over 20, right? And what's the probability that if the first shark is chosen, the second shark, sorry, what's the probability that if the first card that is chosen is a shark, what is the probability that the second card that is chosen is not a shark, right? Well, it's going to be 16 over 20. And it's going to be 16 over 20 because if it's not a shark, right, there's 16 cards that are not sharks. So it's going to be 16 out of a possible 20. And so that's why it's 16 over 20. Next, let's say that the first card chosen was not a shark, right? Then what's the probability that the second card chosen is a shark? Well, the probability that the second card that is chosen is a shark, if we know that the first card chosen is not a shark, is still 4 over 20 because there's still 4 sharks, right? There's still 4 sharks and there's still 20 cards, right? And so it's going to be 4 over 20. Now, let's say that the first card chosen is not a shark. What's the probability that the second card chosen is also not a shark? Well, it's also going to be 16 over 20. And we know it's going to be 16 over 20 because there's still 16 cards that are not sharks. And it's still out of a possible 20 cards, right? And so it's going to be 16 over 20. And so this is the completed diagram, all right? And so let's go ahead and use this diagram to answer this question. It says, using the tree diagram, find the probability that both cards are sharks. So that means that the first one has to be a shark. And that means that the second one also has to be a shark as well. So the probability that both cards are sharks is going to be 4 over 20 multiplied by 4 over 20. And when we multiply them, we have 4 times 4, which gives us 16, and 20 times 20, which gives us 400. And so it's going to be 16 over 400. We divide both of these numbers. So we have 16 divided by 400, and that gives us 0.04. So the probability that both cards are sharks are going to be is definitely 16 over 400, which is 0.04. And that's the answer to this question.